it's Zuri and I'm back with another video. Welcome! Today I want to share some poses that I drew my characters in to strengthen my figure drawing skills as well as playing around with my character's style and personality. I did 4 poses, one for each of my main girl characters, and I will display my drawings alongside each reference photo. I focused on only doing line art for these drawings, so there isn't any coloring or shading, and I didn't draw any of the backgrounds either. I just really wanted to focus on the character themselves and their clothes. So they're just hand-sketched line art that I did with a black felt tip pen. If you also want to draw your original characters in these poses, I will link in the description the Pinterest board where I collected all of these images, and I will also link another Pinterest board that has way more images for you to use as reference photos. But just to be clear, none of these images are my own, and they're all images uploaded and found by other people on the internet, uploaded to Pinterest. I just found them on Pinterest and am now using them for my own drawing purposes, but I own none of these images myself, except for my own drawings. The reference images are not mine, only the drawings. Okay, I think you get the point. Let's get started. So the first pose is someone leaning forward with their legs out in front of them and their hands are pressed against a concrete block behind them for support. Also, the person's gaze is toward the camera but looking beyond it. I drew my original character Cheyenne in this pose because I felt like this is something she would do if someone wanted to take a photo of her. I don't know, it was just kind of an intuitive, this screams this character type thing. I didn't copy the outfit of the person in the reference photo because I wanted to reflect Cheyenne's own style, and she's definitely more of a dress girl, so she's wearing a long sleeve dress with tights and boots. Although you can't really tell that she's wearing tights because it's just the line art, so her tights aren't colored or anything. I didn't bother with shading or anything like that, as I mentioned before. But just imagine that those are tights and not just her bare legs. I think it'll be a good idea to do these poses again in the future, and I think that if you try it, I would suggest maybe trying the same pose more than once. Maybe not in one sitting, but like if you do it once and then maybe a few weeks later when you're doing drawings and stuff, trying it again just so that you can perfect it. So if you need it for like a webcomic or just so that you have different poses down so that you can just like whip it out whenever you need it, you know? So I will also be doing that, and when I try this pose again, I want to try playing around with her expression because she's looking beyond the camera, but I just feel like her expression could use a little bit more expression. I just feel like she's looking a little bit blank right now. But for now, I would say this is pretty good. I feel okay with this drawing for now. This next pose is of someone with one of their legs bent at the knee, and they have a jacket that is halfway off and they're holding it in between the crook of their elbows with their arms bent. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like they've taken the jacket off but are like holding it in the crook of their elbows with their arms bent. This person is also angled partially to one side, so it's kind of a 3/4 perspective. They're not just straight on to the camera, they're more like turned to the side. I drew Sage in this pose because the model is giving sporty cool girl energy, and that screamed Sage to me. I copied the outfit the model wore instead of doing a different one for Sage. Like I did with Cheyenne, I changed the outfit for Cheyenne, but for Sage, I felt like keeping it because this is just pretty much something that Sage would wear. She's a dancer, she likes working out, so very sporty but cute outfits. That's her thing. Like, Cheyenne is more of a dress person, but Sage is definitely like a crop top or like a t-shirt with like shorts or something like that. Very much athleisure. That's what I'm looking for, athleisure. The jacket was probably the most difficult part of this, but the jacket is what makes the pose kind of unique, and it's what makes the pose challenging. I think it came out okay, but something that I want to work on in the future is drawing clothes that looks realistic, because I feel like I have the tendency to draw clothes that's just not, it doesn't look like it's being worn on someone. Like when you're wearing clothes, like if you look at people who are wearing clothes in real life, you look at pictures of people when they're wearing clothes, the clothes, like it has like folds and wrinkles, and it's like moving with their body, if that makes sense. It's not just like flat on them. The clothes has character in and of itself. So I want to practice making clothes that looks more realistic when it's being worn on someone. So I think this was a good way of doing it. I've kind of been afraid of more complicated clothes drawings, for lack of a better term, clothing physics, if that makes sense. But I think it's good to kind of just get used to it and try different things like this. So I almost didn't want to do the drawing after I realized how difficult the jacket would be, but I was like, no, Zuri, we're sticking this out. So I stuck it out, and I think it turned out pretty okay. Third pose is someone holding a fork up over their head so that spaghetti can dangle into their open mouth. I really like this pose. It's just not, it's kind of funny. I don't know. It's kind of cute, kind of funny. It's definitely something that I would do. I drew one of my characters, Ivy, in this pose because I feel like this is how she would pose for a picture. Like, again, it's kind of an intuitive thing, like which poses match which character, and this one is just screaming, Ivy! I will be honest, I don't know how I feel about the arm that's holding up the fork with the pasta. Like, it looks disproportionate to the rest of her body to me, but it could just be the angle or the pose or the fact that her other arm is hidden. If I can imagine that arm, the way that I drew it, being down by her side, it would just look like awkwardly large in comparison to the rest of her. But that could just be because her other arm is hidden because, like, she's holding a bowl. That could just be what the issue is. And also, I would almost wanted to redraw it, but it just felt like I didn't know how to do that without having to redraw the rest of her. I just felt like it was okay enough, but I still wasn't sure. I don't know, maybe one of you out there can add your input gently if you think it looks disproportionate, or if you think it's okay, or if you think it's the angle or the pose or whatever. But I think it's okay, and again, I wanted to play with clothing physics in this and make the sweater that Ivy is wearing a little bit wrinkly, because in the photo itself, there's clothes physics going on. You know, her sweater is like wrinkled and things like that. So again, I think it was pretty okay. I like all of the drawings that I did. I know I'm like being critical, but critical in a way of like just analyzing my drawings, but I feel like pretty good about the drawings that I've done. So let's go on to the last pose that we're going to be looking at in this video. The last pose is from a high angle looking down at someone with their hand out and leaning to one side a little, like they have their legs like shoulder width apart a bit, and like one leg is bent a bit. So I wanted to challenge myself with this one, and I think I did okay. I drew Nancy in this pose and changed her outfit to be similar to the one in this photo. So for Cheyenne's outfit, I didn't use a reference photo, I just drew a long sleeved dress. But for this photo of Nancy, I did use a reference photo for her outfit because I just didn't feel like the outfit in the photo itself was something that she would really wear. So I changed it to be like a baggy t-shirt tucked into a long skirt. And again, I like how it came out for the most part. I would just play around with her expression a little more. I just feel like maybe it's like the scale of the drawings, like how big they are, like, but just so you get a good idea of like real life, the size of the drawing, I don't know if scale was the right word, but size of the drawing, maybe it's because of how small the faces are. I just feel like I need to do like work on facial expressions a bit more, but overall I think it was okay. Again, my like overall grade for my drawings is okay. I'm genuinely proud of that. I know I just said that. Probably should have saved that for the end of the video, but whatever. I'll just repeat myself. I feel pretty good about the way that these drawings came out. I'm pretty satisfied. But obviously I want to continue growing as an artist and continue just like getting better. Obviously I want to continue growing and getting better and developing my style and all of that good stuff. So if you decide to draw one of your original characters using these poses, please tag me in images. Like if you draw it on Instagram, like you have an art Instagram, like tag me in the photo, or like send it to me like through like a DM on Instagram, or if you're following my Tumblr, you can like send me a message there. I would love to see other people's like original characters. I love seeing other people's original characters because it's like I want to know what other people like come up with. It's really fun to look at and see. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Check out my other ones if you feel so inclined, and I will see you next time. Bye!